It's January 13th. JLD here, and welcome to MSTR Today and the Treasury Titans. Nothing in this video is financial advice, but sit back, relax, because Michael Saylor is cooking. He is hot. Yeah, he might be in a desert, but guess what? He knows what he's doing. Let's be honest. And how do we know that he knows what he's doing? Well, as James shares here, MSTR literally absorbed the 75% drawdown this cycle. So Bitcoin didn't have to, as volatility shifted from spot Bitcoin to the MSTR common stock, while Saylor is preventing the bear market by acting as the buyer of last resort, issuing heavily at 1x MNAV. If you don't realize that Michael Saylor buying over 400,000 Bitcoin over the past year plus was a major reason that Bitcoin only got down to like the high 70s instead of way, way lower than that, you don't understand what is happening here. Michael Saylor has stepped in as the buyer of last resort. He is here doing what he knows needs to be done for the most pristine capital in the world, the apex predator, which is Bitcoin. Listen, Bitcoin would have survived 100% without strategy and without Michael Saylor. It just would have gone down a lot more, as it has many times in the past. And then it would have recovered, and then it would have gone down a lot. But now you have Michael Saylor coming in, buying, legitimizing, talking to sovereign states, talking to nation states, talking to institutions, talking to pension funds. He is bringing Bitcoin into the literal, from the future into the literal present. I mean, he is just making this happen at such a rapid rate. All I can say is thank you, Michael Saylor, for creating the company that you did. I'm so honored to be a shareholder. You make my Bitcoin holdings so much more valuable. You make my MSTR shares so much more valuable because I am a 10 plus year holder. I mean, if I'm being honest with myself, I'm probably a 40 plus year holder. I'm probably willing this to my son at some point in the future. And man, it's just so impressive what Michael Saylor has done. So thank you for doing that. And Hugh wants us to know that MSTR outperforms Bitcoin. That's a fact. If your entry was during a period of massive outperformance, that's on you, not Saylor. And as you can see, strategy, if you invested at any one of these times, you outperformed Bitcoin, period. Yes, your performance was huge here and less so here, but your outperformance all the way up until, the beginning of 2024 was absolutely huge. So listen, Saylor can't control what the market decides to do with his stock or with any stock as far as the euphoria and the, bidding of it. But at the end of the day, as Hugh says, hearing Saylor repeat the second line of this post on the What Bitcoin Did podcast yesterday was music to my ears. Great minds think alike. And basically what Saylor kept saying over and over again is, like, stop criticizing these Bitcoin treasury companies because the market decided to pump them very disproportionately to their value with trying to make a buck. And then people poured into that on FOMO and they got bitter because the stock went down. No, the companies are still the same companies. They are fundamentally doing what Saylor, myself, and many others believe is right, which is trading fiat for Bitcoin, putting Bitcoin on the balance sheet, becoming a Bitcoin treasury company. Why are we criticizing Bitcoin treasury companies? And a quick note, by the way, if you haven't listened to the What Bitcoin Did podcast, and I'll be playing another clip from that podcast today on this show, you will see a different side of Saylor. Saylor's been very calm, cool, and collected in most of his interviews. I mean, when he's on when he's on talking on news channels and he's talking on different areas to different individuals. But when he's talking on a Bitcoin specific podcast to a person that, should know something about Bitcoin, but by the way, didn't even know even close to the date of their most recent Bitcoin high, which, was really confusing to me. But anyways, that, putting that aside, Michael Saylor was very frustrated. Michael Saylor was very offended, and he used the word ignorant and myopic about 25 times during that interview on What Bitcoin Did, because it's just so frustrating for him and for other people like myself as well, when you just have these quote unquote purist Bitcoiners just trashing Bitcoin treasury companies. It's so frustrating because, as Michael Saylor said many times during the interview, we're all here with the same conclusion that Bitcoin is the most pristine capital in the world, that Bitcoin is the future. And there's 400 million other companies that you could be criticizing for not buying Bitcoin, yet you're choosing to criticize the 200 that are buying Bitcoin. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, literally, what is wrong with you? And there's so many things that are wrong with so many people, but we'll let Michael Saylor have that discussion. Ragnar says, the iPhone moment has arrived. Strategy likely bought over 800 Bitcoin today, that's yesterday, from Stretch alone. Stretch closed at $100.07 with a whopping $176 million in volume without a single tick below 100. Last week, they raised 43% of the volume, which would mean $75 million in Bitcoin was purchased today. If true, they acquired 800 Bitcoin in a single day. That's the iPhone moment right here. That's absolute insanity. I love the fact that we are on this ride. Mark Harvey says, lessons from Michael Saylor's defense of companies that buy Bitcoin. 1, a company adopting Bitcoin is no different from adopting any other transformative technology like electricity or the internet. 2, stop criticizing companies that are making a rational decision, aka buying Bitcoin. 3, stop criticizing those who support Bitcoin in a different way than you do. 4, time is better spent criticizing companies that do not hold Bitcoin. 5, companies that adopt Bitcoin are not competing with each other. 6, the market has room for every company on earth to buy Bitcoin. That's 400 million companies. There's room for all of them. Strategy Maxi says, Strategy is a digital credit company. Digital credit is the product. MSTR is not for speculating. You are investing in the formation of digital credit. Do you believe in digital credit? That's the one thing you have to ask as an MSTR shareholder. Do you believe in digital credit? Do you think that the 11% yield, annual yield that you get from the product Stretch is a great product, is great digital credit? If yes, you should probably be invested in MSTR because that means that they probably have the best product in the world, which is what Saylor said multiple times during his interview on What Bitcoin Did. He's very aware that he has the best product in the world. Again, this is as long as Bitcoin has a CAGR of over 11%. So if you believe that Bitcoin's CAGR is going to be over 11% a year going forward in the future, how is this not the best product in the world? And how do you not want to own shares in the company that has the best product in the world? Of course you do. And Saylor just kept reaffirming over and over again, which I love so much. He is laser focused on this one thing, digital credit. Laser focused. And he will become the best in the world on this because it's a multi trillions of dollars for the taking in that. He is focused. He is following one course until success. Adam says, Strategy at 1.04 MNAV. As of now, the market has rewarded them with $1.25 billion in premium this trading session. A 4% premium last week mean he raised $2.468 billion. A 4% premium now is $2.519 billion. The 1x MNAV floor rises forever when issuing at these levels. Stretch working in the background for non-dilutive pressure is amazingly helpful for making the common stock capital raises accretive to shareholders. This is the most exciting story going on right now. What's going to happen in a year when Bitcoin moves? Or sooner. Strategy is going to erase a record number of future whole coiners this year. It is going to be nuts. I mean, they just erased 13,627 this past week. Rob says, Saylor hooked MSTR up to a fire hydrant and is drinking from a fire hose. Stretch is at $100.09 with 802,000 shares traded already. That's more than $80 million of volume. Of course, it ended up at over $170 million of volume. Saylor is struggling to issue shares fast enough to keep this thing at 100. He's having a hard time, but guess what? He's doing it, and he's just buying Bitcoin. We have CC in the house who says, MSTR to everyone screaming, Michael Saylor is a fraud, and MSTR is just dilution Ponzi. Look at the only chart that actually matters. Bitcoin per share, which is Bitcoin yield, has been grinding higher for years. Price dumps, bear markets, massive paper losses, none of it stops the machine. Saylor's playbook: raise capital, buy more Bitcoin, increase Bitcoin per diluted share, repeat. His latest data from January 2026, holdings at 673,783 Bitcoin and counting. We now know that's 687 and counting. Yield still climbing. Haters said it would collapse in 2025's crypto winter. Didn't happen. They said dilution would destroy shareholders. Bitcoin share keeps rising anyway. This is not fraud. This is financial engineering on Bitcoin's fixed supply. If you're short MSTR because Saylor bad, you're fighting math. Who's still calling fraud? Drop proof below. And guess what? Nobody can drop proof below. I'm going to go through and read these comments, by the way. There are literally none. I just wrote, finally somebody post something intelligent about this company. That was the only comment because there's no bears out there that can dispute that. The Bitcoin therapist says, They want you to take out debt. They want you to get college loans. They want you to buy a car. They want you to get a mortgage. They want you to work for 40 years. They want you to be a wage slave. They don't want you to buy Bitcoin. Now, all of this is true, but who's they? Think about they. People that sell debt, people that sell college loans, people that sell cars, people that sell mortgages, people that sell houses, people that run companies, all of these. So, I mean, there's so many people there that want you to just fall in line like a sheep. Not me. Thank you very much. Chris says, Apex carry trade back into phase 2 with stretch burring. Hard for traditional finance to price in something that's never happened before. Since there's no model, they ignored it until they can't. Overwhelming consensus is that the STR family, stretch, strike, strife, stride, stream, carry concept is not a business model, and that they reject the idea that the net carry is 15 to 20% for the next decade plus on average. Same story repeated over and over again for decades in Wall Street. You get rewarded when you front run them, circa Bitcoin pre-2020. And guess what? We are front running them. Period. End of story. We are front running them. So thank you for listening, because you are front running them. I am front running them. We will continue to front run them until it's too obvious to ignore. And by that time, the price point of MSTR shares are going to be so much higher. So sit back, relax. I got a great clip of Michael Saylor as soon as we get back from thanking our sponsors. When you want more for your business, start with Northwest Registered Agent and get access to thousands of free guides, tools, and legal forms to help you launch and protect your business all in one place. Build your complete business identity with Northwest today. Your business identity is more than your logo or website. It's everything that defines who you are and how you operate, from what your customers see to what they don't, like operating agreements, meeting minutes, and compliance paperwork. With Northwest, you'll get more for your business, more privacy, more guidance, and more free resources than you'll find anywhere else. For nearly 30 years, Northwest Registered Agent has helped entrepreneurs form, grow, and protect their businesses. They're the largest registered agent and LLC service in America, powered by over 1,500 corporate guides, real people who know the local laws. It can help you every step of the way. Don't wait. Protect your privacy, build your brand, and get your complete business identity in just 10 clicks and 10 minutes. Visit www.northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD free and start building something amazing. Get more with Northwest Registered Agent at www.northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD free. Michael Saylor just made an $835 million bet buying the Bitcoin dip. Right now, Bitcoin's fallen almost 40% off its October high, and the big money is buying the dip. What's your strategy? Now might be a great time to convert your IRA or 401k to Bitcoin with the help of Bit IRA. Plus, you can fund it with pre-tax funds, then continue to invest in it over time as you do any other retirement account. Bit IRA protects your assets with end-to-end insurance, highly secure storage, multi-encryption, and registered with the U.S. government. Your IRA is fully IRS compliant. Best of all, you can trade crypto within your retirement account without incurring taxes on any buys or sells. Just go to bitira.com/JLD and request a free info guide. Once you do that and open your IRA, you'll get a free ledger. Bitcoin has proven time and time again to rebound, every cycle going from a higher low to a higher high. With Strategy's latest purchase, Michael Saylor clearly believes Bitcoin is at a discount. Time for you to get into. Go to bitira.com/JLD to open a tax-sheltered IRA in Bitcoin.
By the way, didn't you take over what Bitcoin did in 2025?
It was actually the end of 24, but yeah, that might be the most.
It was a big year for you too.
It was a big year.
Okay.
But like even fundamentally, those are very bullish things. I totally agree. But the price is lower today than it was this time last year. And like, I don't know if this is almost a self-fulfilling prophecy over sort of people thinking a 4-year cycle is a real thing and therefore there's selling of Bitcoin. I mean, I think the 4-year cycle is dead. What do you think is going to happen in 2026?
Look, I think that trying to guess where the market goes over a 100-day time frame is a fool's errand.
Mm-hmm.
Like I literally just said 95 days ago, we were at an all-time high and you're complaining about Bitcoin price action. Like, we have the attention, of sixth graders, not even sixth graders.
It's not complaining. It's
Name
more
one
I'm surprised.
thing in your life you accomplished in less than 100 days. Like you can't.
Mm-hmm.
you're supposed to have, you can't have a baby in less than 100 days. You can't get a college degree in less than 100 days. How many companies were started and declared successful in less than 100 days? You know, was what Bitcoin did made successful in 94 days,
Absolutely
right?
not.
I mean, if you actually did a test on every single human endeavor for the last 100,000 years, like, and you said, well, I'm going to cancel them all if they weren't successful on the 93rd day. Like, first of all, nothing and none of us would be here, right? So I think it's a mistake to fixate on short frequency events. The whole message of Bitcoin is you're supposed to have a low time preference. So I think that if you're an investor, if you're buying a company, if you're investing in a company, expecting it to be successful in less than 4 years just marks you as naive.
Mm-hmm.
Like, name a venture capitalist that would say that if the company that I invested in isn't a screaming success in less than 4 years, that I'm just going to sell my investment.
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. So if you're an investor, you need a 4-year time frame. But if you're a progressive, if you're an ideologue, okay, so you got up and you decided that you wanted to change the world by spreading an ideology, you probably need a 10-year time frame.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so if we go back and ask, well, how long did it take Gandhi to like get where he wanted? I mean, look at the history of every ideological movement, you know, for the last 10,000 years. Normally, people that are deemed to be committed to something have a 10-year time frame. And if you did something for, by the way, the world's full of people that spent 10 years working on something and they still weren't successful, and it took them another 10 or 20 years. But I think that if your goal is to see Bitcoin commercialized, you really shouldn't be analyzing, or you shouldn't be assessing your success with a frequency of 10 weeks or even 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what does it matter what happens in 2026 with the price, right? Do you know, take electricity. You know how long it took to go from 4% of factories running on electricity to 75%
No idea.
of factories? 30 years. Okay, so if you're an electricity maxi and you think that, by the way, electricity is probably the single greatest development of our lifetime. Take away electricity, all the cities die. You know, Florida becomes uninhabitable. Hospitals don't work. Refrigeration doesn't work. Half the planet dies.
Mm-hmm.
What's the second best? There is no second best.